Join us today for the Geek Cabal podcast, Cabal Whisperings. This is episode 32, and this is early February 2025. It'll be me and Owen today. So, I'm Bobbie.
And I'm Owen.
And so we're going to be, it's been a while since we've been able to get together. I had, things happening. Because, it's November and December, so the holidays, and then the post-holidays, sometimes things happen, sometimes they don't. But yeah, so hopefully we'll have Jim and Chad back with us in the near future. But, trying to get four people's schedules to line up doesn't always work out. So, just a couple quick notes here for channel stuff. I filmed a lot of Battletech videos, unboxing videos. Those are all out at the moment for the salvage boxes. Now I'm moving on to the force packs from the Mercenaries Kickstarter, of which I have several. And I also did the unboxing for the Mercenaries box set. So those are all floating around here on the channel. I did a couple book reviews. I'm in the middle of reading another book. I say middle, that's pretty generous as to where I actually am in the book, but it's coming along. Got some more Battletech source books, but they're going to take a while to read because they're very lengthy. Then beyond that, been doing some Lego building videos. I've gone through most of the poly bags that are available at retail at the moment. I think I got one left. It'll be a longer video because it's a 3-in-1 creator poly bag. So I'm going to have 3 different models on that one. And I've started to do like some comparison videos for Lego sets, and I've got more of those planned. Then I've been keeping up with the rando movie reviews. Usually it's just whatever I watch the night before, if it's worth talking about, or if I can stretch it out a little bit to make it kind of seem like it's worth talking about. Even if it's a special like the last movie I did, which was basically trying to warn people you really shouldn't watch this, it's kind of trash. Then I did a video about Fear the Walking Dead, which is just like blowing up into the stratosphere somehow. Not entirely certain how, but because of that, I probably better finish watching The Walking Dead now. That's most of what's been going on so far. We do have our first Gen Con video of the year out, talking about important dates and everything. You should check that out if you're at all interested in Gen Con. There will be more, but this is like the important dates now that you need to know for getting your badge and for getting a hotel room. Even though the show itself isn't until the beginning of August. Well, July 31st, then August 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So, but then Chad and I have made a few videos on the toy game front. We got one I need to edit, but there's some serious meandering, so I don't know if we're not just going to re-record that. Plus I realize there's some things we didn't talk about in it, so that one might be up for the old re-record instead of the try to save it and edit. I do not have George Lucas's ex-wife to save it like he did for Star Wars. So, that's most of what's been going on lately. The only other comment I have is, even though I've been able to mostly put out one video a day, like, there will be times where that will slump, like this week, because life happens, and also sometimes I just don't know what to talk about, or like I have a vague concept of an idea, but I can't formalize my thoughts in anything constructive, and that just leads me to recording the video like 5 times and then still not ever putting it out. So, I've done that before, Owen. There's one or two topics that I have literally recorded 4 different versions of and never put any of them out because I didn't like any of them.
What topics were these?
Well, one is about like gatekeeping in gaming. Because basically trying to explain that there's 2 different kinds, and one of them is actually what you should be doing, whereas people conflate it with the other one, which you should not be doing, and they try to make it sound like both of them are the same when they're definitely not. The bad kind is when you're like, oh, you're a girl, or oh, you are a person of not the same color as myself, or sexuality as myself. That's bad, because you're blocking people based on characteristics they have no control over. Whereas if you're like, oh, you are a complete spaz and will not at all be compatible with my group, that's the one you should be enforcing, because you don't want to wreck your group just on an attempt to be inclusive. I mean, it's on you if you want to give them a shot, but like, just be ready to let them down at some point. Be like, it just isn't working. Also, the people that are like, hey, I like everything about your game, except I really don't. Can we change all of it, but still keep calling it the same game? And at some point, I'm going to try to get you booted out because you're problematic. Those kinds of people, they can go to hell. You should definitely leave them out of your game. That's been an ongoing problem with games for the last few years. People did not tell those people no. So, and the problem is, I tried to record this, and what you just saw, that's the mild version. I just get going. And by the end of it, I'm just like, that sounds terrible. I sound like an awful human being, and I just don't want to put that out there. You know, it's just negativity for negativity's sake. And I'm not about that. Unless it comes to Star Wars The Acolyte. By the way, there's going to be an update on that in this video, now that I think about it.
An update on the Acolyte?
Yes, an update on the Acolyte. And I'm going to make a whole separate video, but we'll talk about it here for a couple minutes.
Talk about dragging something through the mud.
Man, talk about the gift that keeps on giving. It's more like it. But, yeah, so like things like that, or I've actually recorded a video about the tariff situation because it does affect our hobbies. But like, in my attempt to thoroughly explain the situation, I just get going and I start talking about like arguments I see online, pro and con, that I think are stupid, and I just start calling people stupid right and left. And
then you end up veering into a political...
Well, I actually steer clear of the politics for the most part, which is what I ultimately want to do, because I don't want to get into political stuff. But it's damn near impossible whenever it's like, well, the president has decreed this. Like, I don't know how you talk about that without at least mentioning that part. So, which leads you to having to say like, well, I'm not really for or against, and I'm not going to talk about who the president is and why and on this, that, and the other. But at some point, like, you do get to those topics, so it's near impossible. Plus, there's a slim chance I'm wrong about how the tariffs are calculated, and that's a big part of what I'm talking about in the video. Basically trying, like, a insanely basic version. As I understand it, the tariffs are applied when the items are brought into the country. And so the value being tariffed is the value of the goods at that moment, which is not their retail value. Okay? It's actually several times less than their retail value. And so it just depends on how the markups work at the various steps. But as I understand it, most like retail goods get marked up basically 100% at every step of the way. So say thing is manufactured in China, gets brought here. Now the person buying it here is then, like, let's say they buy it from the Chinese factory for $1. Now, so they spend their $1. They're going to sell it to the next person in the chain for $2, who's going to sell it to the next person in the chain for $4, who's going to sell it for $8, and then it's going to wind up on a store shelf for $16. Okay? So the problem is, like, the tariff's back here at the $1 to $2 part. So say it's a 25% tariff. Let's say it's on the $2. Okay? That's 50 cents.
Yeah.
So the problem is people are acting like it's going to be on, what I say, $16 at retail?
Yeah.
Which would be $4, not 50 cents. Well, the problem is a company like, say, Hasbro, who has a horrible track record of these things, is going to blame it on the tariffs and raise it $4. They're going to try to keep their profit margin, the percent. They're not going to try to keep their profit level, because then they'd only have to add 50 cents. Everyone can live with 50 cents. People can't live with $4. And, well, not everyone can. And so that's a big part of the problem. And so a big part of the point of my video was, if they try to apply the $4, they're trying to screw you, and you should abandon their business. If they just carry the 50 cents through, or just eat the 50 cents, then no problem. Like, nothing's going to change. And so that's people are getting hysterical over what should be a teeny tiny amount versus what it's probably going to end up being, because the companies are going to try to screw us. But the problem is going to be the companies, not the base idea, and then I've got to start talking about the base idea and what it's trying to do, and then it veers into political stuff, and it just becomes a total mess. So suffice it to say, my main point here is, I think the only thing you really have to worry about is Kickstarter stuff, because that's going to be affected big time, because those people took money, they had contracts, and now all of a sudden that stuff's going to cost more to bring into the United States. And I've been involved in a Kickstarter where they're like, we're out of money. We need more money to get the stuff shipped to the United States. And that's not fun, because then they've got you over a barrel. Because they're like, well, or you're never going to see anything or your money ever again. And you're into the sunk cost fallacy then. So yeah. And I don't like that at all. I did end up giving them more money. But I got all my stuff, so. And the stuff I got was worth way more than what they charged for it. So I can live with like the extra $10 I had to give them. But yeah. So those are two examples. Yeah. So other than that, I have an idea for a segment that I want to make some videos on, and I would actually like your input on them too, Owen. Have you ever read Appendix N in any of the Dungeon Master guides, Dungeon Master manuals? I don't even know if it's in the newer ones.
No.
Do you know what it is?
No, I didn't read it to that point.
Okay. It's the part in at least the first edition Dungeon Master's Guide that, I think it's the Dungeon Master's Guide, that basically outlines like the books that influenced Gary Gygax in the creation of the game. Okay?
Yeah.
So, what about a modern update as a series of videos where we talk about the things that influence us as dungeon masters and creatives in general?
Ooh, I could...
You know, kind of like how I've got some of the videos talking about, oh, this movie can inspire you, but don't go in super in depth into that. Just have like your list with a brief, and if anything's real good, like we'll make a specific video on that particular thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's something I've been thinking about. I'd like to get Chad's input on that too. But yeah, so if you see those pop up, that's what that is. But at least, the very least, the first video will explain it. So, that's all the update stuff. That's where everything stands, I think. Owen, any updates?
No, not really any channel updates, I think. I mean, I got personal updates, but I don't think that's really relevant.
I don't know. If you want to share them, go for it. If you don't, understandable.
Well, my local Dungeons and Dragons group at my high school, we're losing a member.
Uh-oh.
They're moving.
Mm-hmm. Need to get them on like the old teleconference. And then tell me what you're doing so we can do that for people on here. Because our fan Brian from Boston is interested in jumping in, and like I'm feel terrible. I keep saying that I'm working on it because I am working on it. I'm just not making any progress. So
Amen.
yeah, and I feel really bad about that, you know. But and my nephew Brandon, I'm sure would like to jump in and talk about movies sometimes. But yeah, so that's a thing. So if any of you out there know a good way to do that, let me know, and don't just tell me Zoom, because I don't really view that as a viable option. That's the absolute bottom of the barrel option.
You could try Google Meet.
I'm given to understand that Discord has an option, and that's the one I haven't really looked at.
Discord, I think it could work.
Like apparently there's an option like to open up like video conferencing, and we could probably make all that work. Otherwise, what we might have to do is set up on I can't even think of the name of it now. I know Dwarven Forge has a channel on there, and I know I've got a thing for it. But anyway, might be able to set up on there. We'd have to do like a live stream, and I just record that and then put that on YouTube. Probably is how I would do it. So anyway, searching for these things online is I just suck at it, I guess. Like I don't even know how to phrase the questions I need answered. So, and I can't just like ping other YouTube people because most of them there's no way to actually directly message them, so I just have to pray that they see me in the messages under the video. Like, that's nonsense. So I'll figure it out sooner or later. But anyway, so that's it on the update front. I don't know, you got any questions about any of that? Hit me up down below, I guess. So, for our first topic, we're going to talk about the current state of the MCU and future projects that we know about. So, the closest project is Captain America 4, which I believe they settled on the title Brave New World. It was originally New World Order. And I don't know why they felt that was bad, but I don't think any of them actually read Brave New World, or they'd know that one is equally bad. So,
I mean, even from what you've told me, I haven't actually read the book, but I don't really see how the title really lines up with what we've seen in the trailers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that based on the old title and this title and what we see, we're talking some kind of political thriller of some kind, where either someone is trying to overthrow President Ross and is in for a rude awakening when he turns into the Red Hulk, or President Ross is trying to overthrow the government and become a dictator or something, or maybe multiples of these things are happening, and somehow non-superpowered Captain America is supposed to deal with all this. So, I don't know.
Captain, it's not, well, it's called a Captain America movie, but it's Falcon.
Well, but he's taken up the Captain America mantle. So,
which the only way you've known about that is if you watched.
Yeah, you'd have to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier to get the inside scoop on all that. I don't know who all did. I actually thought that was decent. I mean, there's some issues with the finale notwithstanding. Like, Falcon has some really terrible dialogue where, you know, the writers are just going to have to do better. That's all there is to it. Just like that senator. Plus this whole, like, oh, they're not terrorists, they're just misunderstood. It's like, Falcon, they just blew up a building full of innocent people. They just killed John Walker's friend, which drove him into a rage to kill one of them. Like, no, they're terrorists, dude. Like I can appreciate, like, trying to understand where they're coming from in an attempt to stop them and to make sure there aren't more of them. But, like, no, they crossed the moral event horizon quite early on in the show. Like, they deserve no mercy. They didn't deserve what happened to him at the end, necessarily, but, you know, they didn't really deserve any mercy. So, yeah. Other than that, I thought the show was alright. You know, it's interesting seeing, is it Isaiah Washington? One of the other people subjected to the Captain America treatment. The older black guy.
Oh, yeah.
And for anyone complaining about that, he's a legit Marvel Comics character. Like, but yeah, I mean, apparently the movie has had lots of reshoots. And I guess from one of the things I read, assuming it's true, one of the, like, some of the test footage, like, they apparently dialed back the political stuff, and some of the comments were like, no, lean into it. And I think those were Reddit comments, which means, you know, they're dumb and can be discarded, like most things on Reddit. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think leaning into politics is going to do the MCU any favors. Especially since these apparently were, like, heavy shades of real world politics. Not like, say, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. That's political, but it's a good movie. It's a spy thriller, and it's not like, oh, Robert Redford's really a stand-in for whoever. You know, it's like, no, he's a Hydra agent. Like, the whole point was, like, maybe you shouldn't entrust the government with a bunch of power to kill people because it will inevitably become corrupted because it's run by people. Like, that's not a right or left message. That's a, did you study history or not message. You know, like one of my favorite sayings I've seen, there are two types of people. People that trust the government and people who studied history. So, You know, that's the way it is. I don't know if the more apt saying is power corrupts or that power attracts the corruptible. The end result is the same. So, yeah. Anyway, that's enough of apparently winding up in the political arena again. Owen, any thoughts on Captain America 4?
I mean, I hope it's a good movie.
Yeah, I am going to go watch it. You know, I do hope it's good.
I hope it's good. I don't think it's gonna be better than Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Unlikely. I think Captain America and the Winter Soldier is like top 3 MCU movies easily, and that's only because Infinity War and Endgame were 2 movies.
So you're saying,
otherwise it'd be top 2.
You're saying like after Endgame and Infinity War, Winter Soldier's right there?
For me, it is. Because it's similar to the same reason that Watchmen is still my favorite comic book movie, period. It's because it's more than just the comic book stuff. Like, there's actually another real plot that actually kind of matters in there. You know, like the first Captain America movie, yeah, that's great. You know, World War II, you know, kicking Red Skull and Nazi ass. Like, that's awesome. You know, looks great. Tommy Lee Jones, we're never going to see him again because he's going to die of old age before the rest of the MCU takes place. Like, okay, you know, great movie, but there's no message behind it. There's no nothing to it. Like, it's a World War II movie. Like, we know who's going to win. Like, we know who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. And, you know, so on and so on. So, I mean, the main thing of that is, you know, it's Captain America origin story. But then you get the Winter Soldier. It's in the modern day. We've got confronting the former friend who's now the brainwashed assassin. We've got Hydra infiltrated everything, like loosely based on real world events. You know, like after World War II, who were like, we'd kind of like to get to the moon. Hey, it's a bunch of German scientists over here that seem to have some good ideas. Let's bring them over here and we'll just pretend like they weren't involved with the Nazis. And so, like, you know, you've got these things happening, and again, you've got the backdrop of the far larger point of maybe the government shouldn't have roving death bots. You know, like, it wasn't just that Hydra infiltrated them, it's that people that weren't Hydra thought it was a good idea too. Like, to prove, you know, it's like, to go along with the whole, like, but they shouldn't have. Like, Nick Fury should have never thought that was a good idea. The only reason he did is because it was his finger on the trigger, or so he thought. The moment it wasn't, he's like, this has got to go down. And Cap's like, that's where he tried to remind him, like, Nick, like, the whole problem was problematic. Like the whole thing was a problem from the get-go. Why did you ever say yes to any of this? So, yeah. Yeah, because, like, you compare it to, I don't know, any of the Thor movies. What's the deeper message? I mean, there's the whole, like, you know, if you're a parent, like the whole, basically it's the Spider-Man message. Great power comes great responsibility, which Thor had to learn the hard way. And then he loves Jane Foster, and maybe don't let Tiki Waititi direct your 4th installment. Like, you know, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Iron Man, you get some things. There's some things in there about personal responsibility and ghosts of your past, and you know, there's some stuff in the Iron Man movies. They're not completely devoid of substance. But a lot of the rest of it, you know, it's entertaining, but there's nothing there, really, in a lot of it. Now, in some of it there is. You know, in the Spider-Man movies, you get, you know, the whole power and responsibility thing. But then, like Watchmen, the reason I view it so highly is because it's about, you know, who's actually in control of things. Should you actually trust people that dress up in costumes and act as vigilantes? The answer is no. And, like, what if one of them developed a god complex and decided he had to save the world and was willing to do anything to do it? Just how far would he go, and who's actually going to stop him? And so on and so on. And set that in the backdrop of the mid-'80s Cold War, with Nixon on his 4th term as the president. It's a 5th term. Yeah, it's one of the two. Yeah, it's like, so there's more substance. There's things to think about, you know. There's some thought there. Yeah, the book's better, but the movie's excellent adaptation. So, yeah, that's why I like The Winter Soldier. You know, because there's more to it. You know, that's just me. What about you?
Well, it's been a hot minute since I watched the movie, but I mean, I still liked it a lot.
Yeah, Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you haven't seen Watchmen.
Oh, I was not with us. I've not seen Watchmen. I
Yeah.
know very little.
How old are you, Owen?
17.
I mean, I would say you could watch it. I mean, you're old enough to buy a ticket to go see it, so. Because it's pretty hard R. Not gonna lie. Like, 'cause people get vaporized. And by vaporized, I mean, like, what that actually means, where 50% of your mass is turned to vapor and the other, explodes.
Meat chunks.
Yes, meat chunks, repeatedly, from Dr. Manhattan. And then a different meat chunk whenever he, like, starts to become not human and thinks that clothes are just an inconvenience now. Yeah. And some wild scenes because of that. Definitely an adult movie. This is not a movie for children. But like a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, they can handle it based on the content. I just don't know if they get it. Plus, they're not going to understand the Cold War unless you tell them about it.
Well, then you know very little about me.
No, I mean, I say you would. You've read The Hunt for Red October. You've had an insight into the Soviet mind and the American mind in the Cold War. Like, you know the score.
What are they doing over there?
Yeah. But yeah. So I hope the fourth one's good. I mean, hell, I thought the second Captain Marvel movie wasn't terrible. It was all right. So if I could make it through that without thinking that was terrible, I'm sure this one can't be bad. There's no way this one's the next Eternals. Like, that's just not possible. Harrison Ford's a good actor. He'll carry it if he has to. Anthony Mackie's a pretty decent actor too. Said some kind of stupid things recently, but
I'm just wondering when Harrison Ford keeps saying he's going to stop acting, and then he just keeps acting.
Well, I saw a thing it's a couple years ago now where he seemed to reverse his opinion. He's like, the people like me in these roles and they're willing to pay me for them, so I'll just keep coming back. Like, I'm having fun, why not? And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, all right, bring on Indiana Jones 6, I guess.
Oh no, please no.
No, I don't see him making a part 6. There's no way they can, unless he's like, no, they can't even make a Professor Jones, because that's what he was in this one. That's what he is in all of them.
Except he wasn't actually doing any professoring in Dial of Destiny.
No. But yeah, I couldn't see that. And he's dead in Star Wars, so now he's jumping into the MCU. I don't know. The big franchises left? They're going to put him in House of the Dragon, so being in the Game of Thrones spinoff?
I don't even... There was that one movie where it was Harrison Ford and the dog.
Harrison Ford and the dog.
Yeah. It wasn't like a franchise, it was just like a movie.
Yeah. What was the plot?
They were going somewhere. I have not watched the movie.
I haven't seen all his movies, so. I mean, I don't see a third Blade Runner on the horizon. Plus, I have no idea what you would do with his character after the second one. So, kind of a shame. I like the 2 Blade Runner movies. I know the second one gets a lot of flack. I thought it was good. That's how I knew that guy was going to make good Dune movies. Denis Villeneuve, something like that. He's going to make it. Have you seen the 2 Dune movies?
No, I haven't seen any of the Dune movies.
Okay, well, a part of me says you should watch the 80s one first. Just because.
So I can appreciate the recent ones?
Yes, but also because there's some things it did better than the new ones did.
Oh, well, yeah, that too.
And, like, there's some things that it's a more accurate adaptation than those are. Then there's other things that, like, they just made stuff up. At least the 2 new ones don't really suffer from that. It's just a matter of like, what did they focus on? What did they exclude? One or two characters had some changes that I don't agree with, but generally speaking, they're decent adaptations. But there are things that were better done in the one from the 80s. So, and then there's things that it's just like, what is happening here? Like, I've read the book, this isn't in it, what's going on? So, yeah. And then the studio meddling happened. And that is why David Lynch took his name off of it. He died not too long ago. That's a shame. He's a good creative type. Made Twin Peaks. If you folks have never seen that, check that out. It's only like 2 seasons. And then there's a movie, which is like a hard R movie compared to the TV show. And then there's like a new season, like 25 years later or something, that I haven't watched. But yeah, Kyle MacLachlan at some of his best. Drinking some damn fine coffee everywhere he goes. Good theme song. Good show. Kind of like the X-Files, but like in one place. Yeah, definitely worth watching. Speaking of that, no, I'll tell you that in a minute. Just remind me, there's another TV show I want to talk about. But yeah, so I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping that they didn't replace Thunderbolt Ross just to kill him in this movie, you know. Although, like you said, I don't know how much longer Harrison Ford's going to be acting, so maybe.
Well, it surprised me to learn that he was only 82.
Yeah, tell you what, in Dial of Destiny, he's in pretty good shape for an 82-year-old. I mean, it was like a year or two ago, it's like an 80-year-old, but still, like, he's in better shape than I am, I think. Like towards the end, you know, he was got a shirt open, like, the dude is still ripped. Like, what the hell? Good for him, though. Good to see Marion is still alive. Because, you know, Elsa didn't make it.
Yeah.
She went for the Grail. Plus, I think he might have had trouble eventually because she was a Nazi. But anyway. And Willie Scott, she just married Steven Spielberg. The actress that played her, that's Steven Spielberg's wife.
Yeah.
That's why she's in the movie. But yeah, so then after that, we have the Fantastic Four movie, which the trailer's out for that now. What are your thoughts on that, Owen?
I thought the trailer was good. I mean, I like the comic accurate theme.
You know, any other things that stick out as good or bad?
I feel like Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic just seems weird to me.
Yeah, it's weird, but I don't know. I think he plays like weird, quirky characters better than he plays serious characters. Because, like, I think he did a decent job as Maxwell Lord in the second Wonder Woman movie. Like, he was one of the only good parts about that movie. Which is a shame. The first Wonder Woman was so good. The second one is no good. Or his role in that Nicolas Cage movie. What is it? The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think he'll do all right. I've seen people complaining about the Invisible Woman, actually.
Because she looked too old?
Yeah. Because they're like, she's supposed to be like 25. I'm like, to Reed's like 40? Like, do we really want to, like, are we really going to go with that? Like, I mean, I know that he's an older guy, like, compared to her canonically, but I think this is one that we can let that one slide. Yeah, because like, she's clearly in her 30s. I'm like, okay, so she's a little bit older. Like, the one playing her is beautiful. And as long as she can act, like, that's all that really matters here. Not to be superficial on the beauty front, but she is supposed to be very beautiful. So much so that Namor tries to steal her at every opportunity. But he does that with every woman who's, like, above a 5, so. Namor, like, comic-accurate Namor is so just ridiculously full of himself. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I get it. Because he's, like, a perfect physical specimen and the king of Atlantis. So, of course, he's going to have that attitude. But, like, It's just great every time he shows up in the comics because he is just so full of himself and has the powers to back it up. Like, he knows people can't screw with him because of how strong and indestructible he is. Oh, Namor. Oh, how they destroyed you in Black Panther 2.
He was in Black Panther 2?
Yeah.
I haven't watched the movie, so...
Well, like, other than that, Black Panther 2 is decent, in my opinion. They did the best they could without having Chadwick Boseman. But yeah, no, his character totally destroyed. Like, apparently now the Atlanteans are a Mesoamerican people who, like, got exposed to something. I don't remember what they were exposed to at this point. And might have been vibranium. And they became sea people, and he's like a half-breed because his mom was like pregnant with him when she became a sea person. Instead of, the people that have lived under the ocean for thousands of years, and he's half Scottish. Like, that's his half-human side. Because his mom was Atlantean. I think his mom was the Atlantean one, half. But anyway, I think they didn't want to go with that because they didn't want to seem to be copying Aquaman. But this is one of the rare moments where Namor is actually the older character. Marvel's actually the original one. And DC's actually the knockoff. Because most characters, it's the reverse. Because most of DC's characters are from the 30s. And Marvel was more like the 40s and 50s, with a lot of it in the 60s is where they really took off. So yeah, this was the one instance where Marvel's actually the original, and they're afraid of looking like the knockoff. Should have just been like, we're the MCU. Who cares what DC's doing? Well, the same damn movie. It'll still do better at the box office.
The DCU's still going on?
Whatever state it's in, with the Superman trailer. I'm far more looking forward to Fantastic Four than the Superman movie.
I mean,
although, I like who they cast as Lex Luthor. So, I'm hoping he'll work.
I mean, at least it's doing better than Sony's Spider-Man movies.
Like, their Spider-Man movies do just fine. Then they're like, let's make other movies. And everyone's like, could we not? Because they're not going to be good.
Like, what do you mean, like Kraven?
Yeah, who would have ever thought Kraven the Hunter couldn't carry a movie?
He's not even the most interesting Spider-Man villain.
No, not at all. And like...
We got him before literally anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of in a bind. Because they're kind of stuck in the same situation that, like, the Batman movies are in, where they don't want to just copy the Michael Keaton era Batman movies, but it's like, but they still want to use the Joker and Catwoman. It's like they're basically going to have to at some point, and Bane. But they just avoided like Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy and the more goofy ones like that because they wanted the more grounded universe. So they're kind of stuck there because like we've already seen the Green Goblin in different universes.
Yeah.
We've already had Electro in one of them. We had the Dr. Octopus. We've had a couple versions of the Rhino now, because I think he's in the Kraven movie, if I saw right in the trailer. And, we've had the Vulture in the current movies. So, what do you got left? Because we had Mysterio in the current movies. We've got, like, the Chameleon, the Lady Dr. Octopus, maybe. You could maybe do the Symbiote again, but Venom's got its own series going on.
Oh, I was about to say. Oh yeah. I thought of a. Well, no, but he was in Spider-Man: Homecoming. Shocker.
Yeah, Shocker. I mean, who are we going to use? Cardiac. Like, let me know down in the comments if you even know who Cardiac is, because I bet you don't.
I don't know. We haven't had Tombstone.
We'll never have Tombstone. Are you kidding me? Like, it'd be great, but that's never going to happen. They're never going to have a black guy get subjected to something that turns his skin chalk white in a movie. Like to play it straight. Like, I know that happened in Iron Sky, but that was a Nazi scientist, like, using his albinoizer to make a guy white, and then he gets it reversed at the end of the movie. By the way, Iron Sky is a spectacular movie. You folks should all watch it. Nazis hiding on the dark side of the moon. Yeah, the sequel is silly beyond belief, but the first movie was great. But yeah, like that actually happened there too. Like when he gets back to Earth, like no one believes him. Like he was like a famous model, and like no one believes it because now he looks different because he's white. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I don't know. I mean,
because that's the problem with Tombstone. Is like because it's the background. Like there's nothing wrong with the character, but it will literally be an African American person with white skin. So he'll still have all the African American features, but he will have chalk white skin. That's why he's called Tombstone. Well, the fact he's the white, but also like the fact he's literally like hard as a rock, like concrete. That's why he's called Tombstone. Yeah, and you probably won't see Bullseye because he's over in the Daredevil stuff.
we already have Kingpin over.
Kingpin's over in the Daredevil stuff. You might see him because he is like a New York villain, which apparently he's going to be the mayor of New York in the Daredevil storyline. So, but yeah, I don't know who like
Screwball.
I mean, I suppose you could have the Spot if you really want to go out there. There's the Hobgoblin and the Demogoblin. There's
Jackal.
The Jackal. Now, if you do the Jackal, though, you're going to open up a real can of worms there.
Oh, yeah, with the Scarlet Spider.
The Clone Saga. That's what we need on screen. Possibly what everyone considers to be one of the worst storylines ever for Spider-Man. That's what we need. You know how long that ran in the comics? It takes 4 omnibus-sized books to collect the whole storyline for the Clone Saga. Yeah. And then in the end, you find out the one guy you thought was a clone was the clone the whole time. Because he gets killed by the Green Goblin. Whenever he dies, he disintegrates. That's how you know he's a clone. And that's where Norman Osborn comes back from whenever Spider-Man killed him, like 20 years ago in real time. He's been dead that whole time. And then he shows back up. Then he gets killed, and it turns out it's a clone. But then Norman Osborn shows back up the next day. And then he's like, Pete, I've been behind all the problems in your life for the last 20 years. Like, you didn't really kill me. I had a healing factor. So whenever you buried me, I just regenerated. And now I've been trying to screw with you for all this time. It's all just been the machinations of Norman Osborn. And now I'm back. And he's never left. So, in comics, no one is allowed to stay dead. Bucky's back to life. Norman Osborn came back to life. Harry Osborn's still dead, though. Shouldn't have attacked Spider-Man when he was tripping on acid. That was his problem. Then, actually happened. Then, Uncle Ben's still dead. So, yeah, it's Uncle Ben and Harry Osborn. They're the only 2 allowed to stay dead in comics.
Well, I mean, Uncle Ben's purpose is to die.
Yeah, I know. But, like, and Bucky I can live with. Because the Winter Soldier comic book, like where he comes back as the Winter Soldier, is excellent. Like, for what the movie did, like, the comic is better. And it's spectacular. That whole run with Ed Brubaker that starts with the Winter Soldier, that whole run's great. That's like 5 omnibus books full of comics.
You know what Spider-Man villain we haven't seen on the big screen? Big Wheel.
Dude, Big Wheel, yes. That's what we need. The zany Spider-Man villain. Big Wheel. We get the one crime boss that turned his body into the old man that made his body into a cyborg body. I can't think of his name now. It'll come to me like in the next segment.
We haven't seen Hammerhead on the big screen.
Hammerhead, the dude with the adamantium skull. Yes. I haven't seen Black Cat. They'll definitely be accused of copying DC on that one. She is totally a Catwoman knockoff, but
what the 2 cat-themed cat burglars who have a romantic relationship with the main hero?
Yeah, with their respective characters from each universe, they have the best rogues galleries. Yes. Yeah, we got him. Let's see. We could have the doppelganger, I suppose, but we'd have to use the Infinity Stones again to have his proper origin. Yeah, if we do the Clone Saga, we could have Kane.
The Wall.
The Wall. Yes, the Wall. They won't use him for certain reasons that I don't probably have to explain, but like, that'd be great. Which is sad that they couldn't use him. Yeah, what they really need to do is the Secret Empire storyline from the comics, where in the end, Captain America, I think it's Captain America, kills the main guy, and it turns out it was Richard Nixon. I'm serious. That's why, like on his HeroClix character, he had to. It didn't list his real identity, but one of his clicks was an identity that would shock the nation. Because like Captain America just becomes like totally despondent after that, and he's just like, "How can this be? Like he was the president." It just like, I think that's when he became Nomad. But yeah.
What is it with comic books and Richard Nixon?
But yeah, I don't know. Are there any other decent Spider-Man villains? I mean, there's other Spider-Man villains, I'm sure, but good ones. I think they're just going to cycle back into the ones.
I mean,
and be like, this is this universe's Electro.
I mean, they already messed up Taskmaster.
Oh, Taskmaster. What did they do to you? Like, you could have been an awesome character. And now you're not. And never will be. Like, wow. We just need, like, the actual Taskmaster to come in and kill her and take over. Or they're going to, like, do some serious rehabilitation like they did with Baron Zemo. Because, you know, there was, like, Zemo in, like, Captain America Civil War. But then they're like, oh, right, we need him to lead the Thunderbolts. Let's put him into Falcon and the Winter Soldier, completely change his backstory, and do everything to turn him into Baron Zemo.
At least he got to wear the mask.
He did. He also got to dance. One of the two memes that came out of that. The other one, for those of you that don't know, is whenever he says something on the plane, and Falcon's like, he's out of line, but he's right.
Oh, man, that meme.
Yes, that one's got some serious mileage.
I still see that meme.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't... Because, see, the last Spider-Man movie really screws with things. Because, like, Pete has actually fought the Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus and Electro from the other universes. So now, like, are they just going to be like, oh, well, they happened here, too, and he just hasn't fought him yet? You know, like, no one's going to buy into that. They're going to be like, come on, guys, give us something original. Like, we tried. There's no villains left. Who do you want to use? The Spot? Big Wheel?
I mean,
you know?
He didn't actually, like, I mean, yeah, man, like, Shocker got like 5 minutes of screen time before he got killed off in Homecoming.
Yeah. Oh, there's Hydro Man.
Hydro Man.
I mean, he's completely and totally different from Sandman. But yeah, I don't know. There's the Lady Electro. I don't know much about her. She's got an action figure now, though, for Marvel Legends. Thinking about buying it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else you do with Spider-Man at this point. I think it's the Clone Saga or bust. And the Clone Saga might be bust, but I think you got to go for it. They get multiple Petes on screen. No one will know who they are because of the spell at the end of the last movie.
Oh, Mr. Negative.
Yeah, he's a crime boss, right?
Oh, yeah?
Something like that. I don't know much about him. I know he's the villain in one of the video games.
Yeah,
right?
He's like the villain in Spider-Man, like, 2018.
Now, yeah, I mean, you could do him. Like I said, I'm sure there's others. Silvermane. That's the old man who turned himself into a cyborg. You had to remember it sooner or later. In the cartoon, he turned himself into an infant with the tablet of time. I don't think we ever saw him after that. Yeah, as some Aztec thing, I don't know. I suppose we could bring in the characters from the Spider-Man movies they've made, like Morbius and Kraven. I still haven't watched Morbius. I haven't watched Morbius. I haven't watched Madam Web. I started to watch Madam Web, but I couldn't bring myself to finish it. Which is saying something, because I sat through the 2016 Ghostbusters.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
So yeah. But yeah, back to the Fantastic Four, since we stumbled out of that. It's definitely like in the 1960s. So I think it has to be a different universe, because no one's ever been like, hey, you remember that team from the 60s that was around? You know, like it's just gonna become too contrived at this point. Like, if Nick Fury's like, oh yeah, you know those guys. Come on, Ant-Man, you remember them, right? You were in the 50s, so clearly you'd remember the 60s. Why didn't anyone mention this before now?
Like how nobody remembers what happened in the Eternals.
Yeah. I don't remember what happened in the Eternals, and I watched it.
No, but yeah, I think it being in the alternate universe is the best course of action would be.
Yeah, and then they might cross over at some point. But then that would imply that they're going to have to bring Doom with them, you know, or something to that effect. I don't know. But the key point of all this is Galactus isn't a goddamn cloud in this one. Or at least his shadow isn't. So...
I mean, no, you actually get like a shot of his helmet.
Yeah, you see the shadow it's casting there.
No, not the shadow.
Do you actually see the helmet?
Yeah.
I must have missed that. But no, I like the kind of the retro futurism of it. I did see one character that was like a disheveled old man. I'm really hoping that's Red Ghost, and we're going to see him in the Space Apes. Because there's nothing like a commie scientist and some apes that have gained superpowers by trying to replicate what the U.S. did and had like a crappier version of it, because that's what communism basically does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Owen, you should watch my video about Chernobyl. I opened it up with saying that I think I could definitely make a channel just me shitting on communism nonstop every day, and I'd never run out of material. So, it sucks that much. But I will say, as I said in the Chernobyl video, there's people over there in Russia, at least at that point in time, that they are made of some stern stuff, is all I can say. Because, like, history demanded someone stepped up and probably going to die, and by God, people did. So, like, my salute to those people. Like, I don't care what country they're from, like, they probably saved the continent from death by radiation. But that's a good show. You should watch it. It's only like 5 episodes.
All right, your job is to shove graphite off the roof. You're probably going to die.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, you've got like 20 seconds, you know, and it was like, don't trip. Don't grab the graphite. But like, they try to get like a lunar rover, and they get him for one part that they've made. Because they made him for their moon landing and it never happened. But then they're like, this other part is too radioactive. We need something that can withstand the radiation. So they get one from the Germans, but then it doesn't work because they gave them the fake propaganda radiation number, not the real one. And so the main guy goes and gets on the phone and just like cusses out the person on the other end. He's like, it's like, God damn it, I know they're listening. I don't care if they're listening. Go tell Gorbachev himself. Like, I want them to hear this. And he just smashes the phone. Then he walks out. He's just got the phone in his hand and tells the other people what happened. Then he turns to the technician. He's like, I need a new phone. But yeah, like...
I don't know many Fantastic Four villains.
Well, I mean, obviously we're going to have Galactus, which means the Silver Surfer's in there, I'm sure. I am really hoping that it's not a woman, like has been reported already, because Shallowball was only the Silver Surfer in 1 issue or 2 issues of Earth X that came out 25 years ago, so don't tell me in the comments about it. I have the issues.
I want to see Mole Man.
Mole Man would be awesome. With the monster to replicate the cover of Fantastic Four #1. Like I said, there's Red Ghost and the Space Apes if you want like the Soviet counterpart to them, essentially. You've got Doom, obviously. You've got the Negative Zone villains, Blastar and Annihilus.
Annihilus.
Yeah. You've got I don't know a whole lot of villains after that for Fantastic Four, honestly. Well, you've got the Wizard and the Frightful Four, and they've had a couple different incarnations. He's just pissed off at Reed Richards because Reed Richards invents things and just gives the patents away for free. And he's like, that's not how capitalism works. I'd invent these things and become a billionaire. But he doesn't because he's not as smart as Reed, and that's his other problem. He's like, and this fool's smarter than me, so he invents these things. And it's like, well, yeah, sorry, you know, like... Go talk to Doom. He invents these things too. He'll just shoot you, but like, you know, that's why he carries a gun. For those of you that don't know, Doom carries a sidearm for whenever he wants to kill someone but doesn't want to sully himself by using his powers to do it. He just wants to shoot them to show that he's just like that petty about it. That's why Doom is the best. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how that whole Robert Downey Jr. Doom thing plays out, because I think he's going to be a variant, and then like someone else will be like the real Doctor Doom. So I think that's why they're going to play it, if I had to guess. But yeah, that's a lot of the Fantastic Four villains, like right there. I'm sure there's a bunch of one-offs. I'm sure that they fought Rama Tut at one point, whenever Doctor Doom sent them back in time. So Kang is also an occasional villain of theirs.
I don't think there will be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to be seeing Kang, or at least not the version that we saw. He had some major problems, but yeah, you got that. The Skrulls, but I don't know if they're going to be back as being villains. You have the Super Skrull. The Kree, they fight them sometimes. They fight the Inhumans sometimes. Mainly Maximus the Mad. They fight the Atlanteans, because again, Namor keeps coming up and tries to steal Reed's woman. I think he went so far as to like use the thing they have to turn surface people into Atlanteans one time on her. They did that to Jean and her sister too, by the way, and like a side X-Men comic after she became the Phoenix, and she cured herself by just like rearranging her own molecules. Then she like turned to her sister's like, it's a little bit different if I do it to myself. Like I could try to do it to you, but I might like kill you. I might just erase you from existence. Do you want me to try? Well, Jean, I guess. And so she does, and the whole story is like a flashback after Jean as the Phoenix died. So. She stayed dead for a while from that. Not as long as she did more recently, when she was dead for like 20 years in real time. But no, I'm hopeful for that one. I think the trailer looks good. So.
What about Thunderbolts?
Well, I think there's a trailer for it. I just haven't watched it yet. Conceptually, I like the idea, because I like the Thunderbolts comic idea. But I know it's not going to be like the first chunk of the Thunderbolts comics. It's going to be the later one where it's supposed to be reformed villains, because the original Thunderbolts idea was right after Onslaught. So the Fantastic Four and the Avengers were gone, and the X-Men were the main heroes left, and the world thought that they killed the other heroes. Mainly thanks to Bastion and the Sentinels, but that's a whole other storyline. Watch X-Men 97, you'll get the Cliff Notes version. And it's an excellent show. Easily the best thing Disney Plus has produced. Okay, tied for that with Andor. That's the other best thing they've produced. But anyway, the idea was this new group of heroes shows up. Oh, the Thunderbolts, led by Citizen V, and they do a bunch of fighting villains and stuff. And some heroes are like, who the hell are these guys? And then in the end of, I think it's issue 1, Citizen V calls Baron von Strucker, the head of Hydra. And Baron von Strucker's like, this is a private channel. How'd you get this? Who are you? And then in I think it's issue 2 is where you find out who they really are. Citizen V was Baron Helmut Zemo. Heinrich is the older one. He's the Nazi. The one that we see in the MCU is Helmut Zemo, his son. He's Citizen V. Goliath was some other giant dude. They were all former members of the Masters of Evil. And then a couple issues in, a new character shows up, Songbird. You're like, oh, who's this? Is this an actual decent person? No, it's Screaming Mimi in disguise. And then eventually Hawkeye joins the team because he's like, I don't trust any of you guys. Because once the heroes came back after the whole Onslaught thing and Heroes Reborn returned. So that plot line continued for a while. Then eventually everything came to a head. And they were like, we have to make a choice. Are we going back to being the Masters of Evil? Or are we like seeing this through? And I don't know all the situation. I haven't read that far. I just know the Cliff Notes version. But essentially, Baron Zemo is like, I'm going to tell the world who all of you are. Good luck being heroes after this. Peace out. And so he does. And some of them are like, we kind of liked being heroes. Like, people actually liked us. Like, things were good. And so the Avengers, like, welcomed some of them to the team. And that's where Songbird shifted over to just being an Avenger. And then when the whole idea came back, they continued on for several issues, but then the reincarnation was essentially similar to the Suicide Squad. It was, here's villains we think we can kind of trust, and we're going to put a hero in charge of the team. I think originally it was Hawkeye, then Luke Cage ran a version, and then there's been some other versions. But this seems to be more of that second iteration. So, but I think Baron Zemo's still the leader of the team.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be working for Elaine from Seinfeld. I can't think of her name. The Contessa. Francesca something. Who is now totally out of place because she's actually supposed to be Nick Fury's love interest. But not Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury. More like, to be blunt, the white Nick Fury. Because they are separate characters entirely. And, so that's probably not even going to be a factor. Unless they're going to make her current Nick Fury's love interest. I mean, why not? Go for it. Although he was married to a Skrull. Yeah. The things you find out on Disney Plus shows, it's amazing. Secret Invasion. Not a good show. Not a good show. Introduced probably the most powerful character in the MCU at the end. There were 2 Skrulls that got injected with the DNA of all of the villains they fought up to that point, including Thanos. And then they fought it out and only one of them survived. That person has to be the most powerful character in the MCU, short of maybe a Celestial or something. Because they have all of the powers. Including Captain Marvel. And Thanos. And they're shapeshifters. And it is stupidly ridiculous. They'd probably stand a chance against Superman. Not much of one, but a chance. But yeah, so who all's in the team? It's
well, from what I've seen, I've only seen clips of the trailer. You got Black Widow's sister.
Yeah, Yelena Belova.
You got U.S. Agent.
Yeah, I think Red Guardian's part of the team too, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is Taskmaster part of the team?
Yeah.
Is it everyone that survived the Black Widow movie, basically?
I'm assuming.
Plus U.S. Agent and Baron Zemo. Yeah. I mean, I'm hopeful for it. I don't want to see the MCU crash and burn. This isn't like Star Wars, where sometimes I kind of do, like with The Acolyte. But most of the time I really don't. I really just want a quality product, because I'm going to watch it either way. Because I'm an idiot. But
The Acolyte.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a minute. But yeah.
At least the one dude's back to acting in good shows.
Oh yeah, Squid Game, back where he belongs, in Squid Game. Waiting for season 3 now. I will remember his name at some point. Hey, by the end of Skeleton Crew, I had the names of most of the kids remembered. Actually, I think I had the names of all the kids memorized. It was Jude Law's character I couldn't remember. He was the best acted character in the show. But he's just Jude Law. By the way, if you haven't seen Skeleton Crew, it wasn't bad. You should watch it. It's a lot better than The Acolyte, that's for damn sure. I don't know where they'd go with the season 2, but, But yeah, any idea who they're supposed to be fighting?
What?
In Thunderbolts?
No, I didn't see that.
Well, based on who we have in Captain America, maybe they're going to fight the Serpent Society. Because Giancarlo Esposito's character is one of the main leaders of the Serpent Society. Sidewinder, maybe? I don't remember which one he is, but he's clearly not in costume for it, but that's who he is. So I don't know if the whole rest of the Serpent Society is in that movie. Of course, we also have the weirdness of the fact that Luke Cage has 2 or 3 villains that are also named the same as members of the Serpent Society. But they're different characters, like Cottonmouth, Bushwhacker. And then if you look into it, it's because the Luke Cage villain Bushwhacker is the cousin to the Serpent Society character Bushwhacker? I don't know. Cottonmouth, no relation whatsoever. And I don't remember the third guy. But yeah, like the whole time I was watching the Luke Cage series, like, are these Serpent Society members? And I looked it up. It's like, nope, they're not. No connection except for Sidewinder. I think it's Sidewinder. Or Bushwhacker, sorry. So yeah, I don't know. Someone at Marvel got really lazy on that one. Like, that'd be like if you're reading like the Fantastic Four and like, oh, we have this villain named Magneto. Be like, you do? And he's not Eric Lyncher? No, he's some guy from like the USSR. Be like, what? What is going on here? Although, the greatest thing ever is the Fantastic Four cartoon where Magneto comes up and trolls them. Like, first he pulls up to the gas station at the beginning, and the guy's like, how much you need for your car, pal? And he's like, ha ha ha. He's like, the Magneto Mobile needs no power. It needs no fuel. I use the power of my magnetism with my mutant abilities. And he just, like, starts destroying the gas station. The guy's like, fella, what are you doing? I didn't do anything to you. Ha ha, you mere human. It's just like, what is Magneto doing to this poor guy?
And then Reed Richards has to use his supreme intelligence.
Yes. Reed Richards with the win at the end. Ah, Magneto, your powers can't affect my gun. What have you done? Why? What did you do to my powers? I did nothing to your powers, Magneto. This gun is made out of wood. After the police have arrested him. And as well as like, Magneto should be like, wait, so I still have my powers? These guys just put metal handcuffs on me and have metal cars? Like, well, this could be the easiest win of the century here, Reed. And just smashed everybody. But he didn't. That was old, dumb cartoon Magneto. Not like Michael Fassbender Magneto, because that's what he would have done. I'm definitely like Fassbender Magneto, not Ian McKellen Magneto. Like, Ian McKellen did okay, but Fassbender's got that like intensity that he needs. You know, no offense to Ian McKellen, he's a hell of an actor. Great Gandalf. Like, but, you know, didn't think he was all the greatest. Didn't think he was the greatest as Magneto. Except in Days of Future Past. He did a good job there. Easily the best of the X-Men movies. Even though they horribly butchered the script. Like the comic adaptation. But it's a great movie anyway. And Nixon's in it. But yeah, I mean, I hope for all the MCU stuff. You know, hell, I watched the Agatha Harkness show. Like, I'll watch it. Just put it out there. Just don't make it stupid. That's all I ask. Star Wars is totally failing me on that front. Don't you fail me, MCU.
We got any Marvel shows coming out?
I don't know. Well, yeah, we do. The Daredevil show.
Right, Daredevil.
Right. Born Again, and it looks like it's really in line with the Netflix show. The trailer is like stupidly violent. That's definitely canon from the way everyone's talking and everything. Fisk is going to be the mayor of New York, and a big chunk of the trailer is just him and Daredevil talking in a diner, you know. But like, you get that menace that D'Onofrio has as Wilson Fisk, and I'm hoping that this is a sign that we're going to see like Luke Cage, Iron Fist. I know a lot of people have a real problem with the guy that played Iron Fist, because he just like refused to even try to learn martial arts or anything. It was a terrible stunt guy. And then you have the other few that are like, oh, he's a martial artist, he should be Asian. It's like, no, he's a white guy, like that's what he is in canon. And this whole like fish out of water thing, like that's kind of the whole point. And he's like the rich guy compared to his best friend Luke Cage, who's not. Like, there's a lot of duality stuff going on. Like, they were chosen that way for a reason. Yes, part of it was because it was in the 60s and the majority of comic book readers were white. But there are other reasons. Like, storyline-wise, they did what they could with it. Plus, that one ended on a cliffhanger where things looked like they were about to get really interesting. Like, they were figuring out how to do, like, Iron Fist bullets and stuff. Like, out of guns and stuff. Like, the end of that show is just like, where is this going? We want more of this. Where's this been? So, yeah. And it'd be nice to see Kristen Ritter back as... I can't remember her name right now. That really bothers me. Jessica Drew. Jessica Jones. Jessica Drew Spider-Woman. Yeah. You know, see her back. I don't know the gentleman that plays Luke Cage. I don't know his name, but I thought he did a good job. I'd like to see him come back. His show left an interesting area. Like, he was like, had become like a crime lord, essentially. So, yeah, I mean, like, there was definitely stuff to work with. at where those shows all left off. So it'd be nice to see him come back. Plus, to more fully integrate them into the MCU. Because whenever they're on Netflix, it's just kind of like they vaguely mentioned other things that kind of happened, like the Battle of New York, and they mentioned the Hulk a couple times, and it's like, oh, but these are just kind of happening over there, on this other Earth. Like Spider-Man was never going to be zipping through Harlem or anything. So, plus I don't think they'd cast him at that point anyway. But yeah, so that looks spectacular. Hopefully it follows through. Because that'll be interesting. Because for those of you that didn't see the Netflix show, the Kingpin decapitates a guy at the car door in the first or second episode. It is stupidly violent. And it's going to be interesting to see if Disney actually follows through with that. Because the trailer makes it look like they're going to. So, here's hoping. Then again, Deadpool 3 is on Disney Plus, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, just throw that disclaimer on, kids, this one ain't for you. But the most important part is they seem to be totally ignoring his appearance in She-Hulk. That's the important part about all that. Just like they should ignore everything else from She-Hulk.
Oh.
Or most of it. At least the ending. The ending was stupid. The rest of it, I guess it's alright. There were some funny parts. I don't have anything against Tatiana Maz something that plays Jennifer Walters. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's all we know about that's coming up. I don't know if there's any new seasons of anything existing. But really, that's not how the MCU's been operating thus far. So, we know they're working on another season of X-Men 97. And I think they're still going to make the third, WandaVision, Agatha Harkness, and there's a third show. It's supposed to be about Vision and the White Vision. That was at the end of WandaVision. So I think they're still making that. Because at least I hope they do, because I'd like to see where that goes. Old Ship of Theseus Vision.
I get that reference.
There you go. It's a good reference, too. Not often you get to talk about the Ship of Theseus.
Well, I mean, is it really the same ship?
I don't know. That's the beauty of it. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Although I've heard a joke kind of related to that. Was the follow-up to this is that he's telling all this to the tax collector. He's like, so you have two ships now is what I'm hearing. He's like, no, I've just got the one. It's the original. That's just a pile of junk. But yeah. So I think that's all that we know as far as the MCU stuff. I think. I mean, I'm sure Kevin Feige has a chart explaining everything to the year 2300 when we'll be projecting these movies on Mars or something. But that aside, real plans that are actually going to go somewhere, not Star Wars plans.
Well, oh yeah.
Where we've announced 28 new projects, approximately 21 of which will never happen.
Seven of them have been killed. 3 of them are in development hell. And the other 10 have disappeared.
Yeah, well, all I know is that the one involving Rian Johnson can stay in development hell forever, along with the one from Tiki Waititi, and the one from the guys that wrote Game of Thrones. Those can all just piss off.
I mean,
I don't want to see any of them anywhere near Star Wars.
I don't even know of any Star Wars projects that have been announced for this year.
Well, okay, so Ahsoka Season 2 is being worked on. We know that, and there's actually some interesting rumors about that. It sounds like we're getting more live-action Clone Wars flashbacks, and that Ewan McGregor and Natalie Portman are potentially on board. So we might get some serious flashbacks to which Disney might finally realize, hey, let's just make a live-action Clone Wars show, shall we? Which they should do. And then we can have Ki-Adi-Mundi telling us about the importance of the Wookiees in Kashyyyk. It's an important system. There's a lot of meanings about that for those who don't know. But then we know that's happening. Andor Season 2, I think, comes out this year. because there's already a trailer for it. So I think it comes out this year. And the only downside to that is it was originally supposed to be 5 seasons, and so they're going to condense 4 seasons into 1. Which, based on the writing of season 1, we're going to seriously miss out on some good stuff. But it is what it is. Movie-wise, supposedly they have a director for the Rey movie. This is like the 3rd time, though. Supposedly, there's a new trilogy in the works. The guy who's supposed to be producing it has produced good things. His directing, sketchy, but production-wise, he's produced some of the better X-Men movies and some other shows. So, like, as a producer, he seems to be a solid pick.
I just wonder where you'd even put a new trilogy.
Oh, it'll follow Rey rebuilding the Jedi Order, probably. I mean, that's all they really got. I have a theoretical plan they could implement. If you want to indulge me for a minute here. What they need to do, as much as I would love to just say make the new trilogy non-canon, like, that's the easy route, but let's assume they're not going to do that. Ahsoka Season 1 ends with Thrawn back in the regular galaxy. Just make the Thrawn trilogy right then and there. Like, he's back, Luke's in his prime, just run with it. Okay? We've got some of the other characters, the Imperial Remnant's already a thing. Just go with it. Figure out how you're going to shoehorn Ahsoka and some of her people in there to get them in Mando, and just go. And as you're doing it, introduce Mara Jade. Give the whole backstory that she's, the Emperor's hand and she's supposed to be killing Luke, and have it end with the climactic confrontation against Jerus Sabaoth and Luke. And then she kills the clone, which ends her programming. Luke takes out Jerus, and then you continue it on just a little bit past that, where the two of them obviously fall for one another. They have a quick fling, but then she leaves for whatever reason. So you get all that in there. Then fast forward to the new trilogy, where some young kid shows up to Rey and explains who her parents were, and Mara Jade would have never told Luke that she was pregnant, and it's his son. And then take off from there. You've got your new Skywalker character. You've got Rey. It's not the greatest thing you could ever do, but rebuild the Order with a new younger Skywalker character with Rey trying to do good. And I don't know who your villains are going to be. The Imperial Remnant, I guess. You'll figure that out somewhere along the way. But as it progresses, Rey can, as long as they make Rey a good character going forward, which is hard to do, but if maybe they could do it, then have the other character, which I don't think you can name him Ben Skywalker, because we already have a Ben Skywalker, so you got to come up with another name for him. But you come up with something. And then the future movies of the two of them. It's not the greatest thing ever, but with what we've got, I think that's the best shot. And make a live-action Clone Wars trilogy to show the other Jedi fighting the CIS, to use a digitally resurrected Christopher Lee, or just have him always be in hologram form, and you have Asajj Ventress be your front person. Get her in live action. Make one of the movies just an adaptation of the Shatterpoint novel, and just run with that. That's how you win people back over. Just try to smooth over the sequel trilogy as much as you possibly can without getting rid of it, unless you can get rid of it, in which case that's your...
Instead of going, I was just going to say that I'd like to see, live-action Old Republic stuff.
Yeah, that'd be nice, too. People want to see Keanu Reeves as Darth Revan, apparently.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where people come up with this crap, but... They get in their minds oh, that's the greatest casting ever. When they're let's have Giancarlo Esposito as Magneto, and it's no, he's a Holocaust survivor, a Jewish man of European descent. I like Giancarlo Esposito. He's an awesome actor. There are other Marvel villains he could definitely play. Apparently, he's playing one in Captain America 4. But no, Magneto is white. And then he's well, let's make Professor X a black character. It's well, again, like, he's a rich person in America from privilege. While there are black people that fit the description, statistically, that's going to be a white person. Especially if it's old money, which I think is from England. Like, no, Professor X kind of needs to be a white guy. And it's more like, it also like is his psychology of things of like, oh, we can fit in and work together because he's a rich white guy. That's why he thinks that. You know, where Magneto's like, I've seen my people killed before. Never again, Charles, never again. With my terrible accent that just kind of picked up halfway through that. And Cyclops is kind of stuck in the middle like, well, you know, Magneto occasionally has a point, in which case everyone's like, oh, screw you, Cyclops, now you're a terrorist. He's like, no, I just think occasionally we should fight back, guys. Like, Wolverine's like, oh, you're going to get these kids killed. What are you going to do, Wolverine? I'll do the killing myself. Like, well, that's great, but you're not here all the time. Well, you know, Scott, screw you. I'm going to sleep with your wife. And it's like, it's a mess. The X-Men are a total mess. I love it, but it's a mess. It is a soap opera in comic book form, with occasional space people and baseball games and killer robots. And weird mixed metaphors about underrepresented peoples that don't really work.
We were supposed to be getting a Wolverine game sometime in the future.
Yeah. I saw something the other day that said that they had, I don't know if it had an official source behind it, but it was a rumor that they had actually cast Henry Cavill for the X-Men movie as Wolverine. The Cavalrine, if you will. For those of you that saw Deadpool 3. I can get behind that. He's way too tall, but because Wolverine's like 5'0" and Henry Cavill's like a couple inches taller than I am, so. And I am not 5'0".
I mean, I don't know, man. I just like, whenever I see like Wolverine live action, I think of like Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, I mean, look, I complain about it from a comic book adaptation. Hugh Jackman did a really good job as Wolverine. I thought he definitely got better as it went along. But he also had better material to work with. And he's willing to, like, roid out. Because that's the only possible way he could be in that kind of shape. He's got to be doing steroids of some kind. Or, like, him and Chris Hemsworth have, like, some kind of magic juice they've got somewhere for whenever he has to be Thor. But, yeah. I thought Hugh Jackman did a good job. It's just as an adaptation, he's too tall. Like, that's why I've seen some people, like, unironically are like, Danny DeVito should play Wolverine. It's like, he's short, he's ugly, he can be crude. You've seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm just like, you know, you're not far off. And other people are like, how about Bob Hoskins? Who I think, unfortunately, he's passed, but you know who Bob Hoskins is?
No.
You ever see Hook? You should, it's a good movie. It's a live-action Peter Pan with Robin Williams as an older Peter Pan who, like, chose to live in the real world with Wendy and, like, forgot Neverland, but then Hook, like, kidnaps his kids because he wants to kill him. And Dustin Hoffman plays Captain Hook. Well, anyway, Bob Hoskins was Shmi. Also played Nikita Khrushchev in Enemy at the Gates, which is an excellent movie, by the way. Also shows you the failures of communism. But they were really good at killing Nazis, though. I'll give them that. Yeah, featured the Battle of Stalingrad, the largest land battle in history, for those of you that don't know. Like, something like 7 million combatants. Because, like, most of the population of the city is listed as a combatant. Because they were. There's sort of like, there's all kinds of like little stories. Like, there's this one apartment building that this guy like armed everyone with machine guns and landmined everything around it and fought the Nazis for quite a while. But the Russians were also big fans of, okay, one guy gets a gun, one guy gets bullets. When the guy with the gun dies, the guy with the bullets picks up the gun, puts the bullets in him, and you keep going. And if any of you turn around, we will shoot you. Yeah, commie efficiency.
Well, no, and then, you know, the the Nazis, you know, repeatedly failed to learn the lesson of those who'd come before.
Oh, the Russian winter, their real enemy. And the fact that Russia had more mud than roads. So, you know, vehicles don't work too well. Yeah. Russia being a backward country with more people than weapons ended up being their saving grace.
I mean, that's why 80% of the Russian youth during that time died.
Yeah, I've actually heard a theory that that's why a lot of Eastern European women in like the 70s and 80s were like very attractive because there were not very many men left, so they definitely had their pick, and obviously they went with the more attractive women, and so like you got like two generations of that occurs, and it kind of self reinforces. So I've heard anyway. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but just an interesting thing if it's true. Interesting thing to like actually see that play out. Like horrific because of the casualties, obviously, but you know, from a genetic standpoint, interesting thing. But yeah, did you ever see Enemy at the Gates?
No.
Yeah, that's great. Jude Law's in that too. And Bob Hoskins and Rachel Weisz. Well, I need to rewatch that. I'll do a video on that sometime. Talk about the commies in that one. Ed Harris, he's the Nazi sharpshooter that shows up. Good movie. Excellent movie. Yeah, but by the end, even the commissar is like, yeah, this system's never going to work. He's like, no matter how much you want to say it, like, there will always be people that are smarter, stronger, faster, better looking. He's like, we can't remake humanity. So, Vasily, I'm going to get shot in the face so you can shoot Ed Harris. Here we go. And then he got shot in the face. And then Vasily shot Ed Harris. Spoiler alert for a movie about World War II, you know, the war that ended 80 years ago. Yeah, 80 years, 1945. Although I think that was the one in the Pacific. I think the war in Europe was already over at that point.
No, but I think...
I thought the war in Europe ended in 44. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong on that. I shouldn't speak about things I don't know that are actually historically significant.
I think it was early 45.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll tell you a joke about that later. Remind me. So anyway, The Acolyte, because I think we're past the MCU now.
Yeah.
So, an article came out about a week and a half ago that gave fans of The Acolyte false hope. By the way, remember, hashtag Save the Acolyte. I think they're still accepting money. They ran some ads in Times Square. They didn't really accomplish anything, but it's hilarious to look at. And I truly hope they do get a season 2. I had a lot of fun making those videos. Maybe I'll be one of those people that can actually cash in on them by that point if they make a season 2. So anyway, turns out that Star Wars The Acolyte was the second highest viewed show on Disney Plus last year. And it still had god-awful ratings. So the Acolyte fans took this to mean, look, there should be a season 2. And everyone else is like, no, look, Disney Plus is crumbling. Like, if that was the second highest show, and it got canceled for bad ratings, what does that mean about anything else on Disney Plus? I mean, I saw someone do a breakdown of the math, like, it's not good.
I mean, imagine, like, how many of those were hate watchers?
Exactly. Like, the people that the fans want to cancel probably did more to bump that up than the fans did. Like, it is insane. So yeah, like, this is renewed these people going out and trying to get season 2 made. And again, non-jokingly, I do wish them all the best. People that actually like the show, like, I disagree with them vehemently. But I know it sucks seeing a show you like get canceled, and it's probably done all the damage it can really do to the Star Wars lore anyway. So, you know, we're just going to get Darth Plagueis, and it's going to completely destroy him. But that ball's already in motion thanks to season 1. So, and Squid Game's not in it because he got killed. By the way, spoiler alert. Good for him, though. He's back where he belongs in Squid Game. And hopefully, like, bigger and better things that are, like, not Squid Game. Because I think season 3 is going to be the last season of that show.
Yeah.
Like, I think things are going to come to a head. I think he's going to be the new head guy. I think that's, like, what they're shaping things up to be. That's my theory. I'm not unique in that. Other people said that. I'm not trying to claim uniqueness.
Well, yeah, like you say that, but then other people are like that. Saying that it would like cancel his character development from the previous seasons.
No, there'll be character development. He'll have gone from the guy that thinks people are inherently good to the guy that sees just how shitty people can be. Because that's what's happened in season 2 so far. Like, have you seen it or anything?
I mean, I know enough about it.
Okay, so I don't think what I'm about to say is huge spoilers. But essentially, he reveals to the other players that he has gone through the game before. Okay? And he tells them, hey, the first game is going to be red light, green light. And they go in and it is. He tells them how to survive. And the people that listened to him survived. So then he's like, so this is going to be the second game. But that ends up being a different game. And now all of a sudden, like, you're a liar. You're just making this up. And it's like, you survived the first game because he told you what to do because he knew it was going to happen. And he told you beforehand what was going to happen. He proved he knew what the hell he was talking about. So they clearly just changed the second game. And it's like, everyone like turns on him. And then they're like, but they're like half between that and also like, well, let's keep going. This guy can get us through. And he's like, no, you're not listening. Like, a lot of us are going to die. Oh, that's okay. It won't be us. And he's like, you don't know that. And so half the people there are just like greedy bastards. They're even running the numbers that are like, more people need to die so we can make more money. Like, they flat out say that. And he's finally to the point he's like, fuck these people. I'm not going to help them. And like, the head guy is also there in the game. And like, towards the end, he's like, okay, the main guy is like, so what's going to happen is, this is a tie vote. So we're going to take the next vote tomorrow. Those people are going to kill some of the people on this side so they can win the vote. He's like, I know this is going to happen. I've seen it play out. Like, so what do you want to do? He's like, we're going to stand back, let them do their thing, and then when the guards come in, we're going to jump the guards and take their guns and overthrow everyone on the island. And so the main guy's like, so you're willing to sacrifice people for the greater good? And he's like, yeah, I guess that's what it comes down to, isn't it? And you could see that, like, the main guy, whenever he heard that, was like, I've got him. Like, he's there. He's ready to cross that moral event horizon. I just need to give him the push to make him realize that's how the world works. And that's how this works. And that we're doing a service of some kind. Whatever the hell that is. And, like, so you can tell, like, that's where things are going. So either they're going to go there or he's going to reject it and shoot some people or something. I don't know. But since the head guy is the only other actor I recognize in the show, we'll see what happens. Do you know who he is?
What?
The head guy currently. He was the number 2 guy in season 1.
The head guy.
It's Storm Shadow from the G.I. Joe movies, the live action ones.
I haven't watched the G.I. Joe movies.
No, good for you. They're not terrible, but the second one is definitely better than the first one. I didn't watch the Storm Shadow movie because they gave in, and they made Storm Shadow an Asian guy. Not Storm Shadow, he is an Asian guy. They made Snake Eyes an Asian guy. When again, part of the point is that he's like a fish out of water white guy. But he's a martial artist, so he has to be Asian. That's not racist at all. So if these people had the capacity for introspection, they'd work wonders. But anyway, yeah, so I didn't watch that movie. And it bombed. So, yeah, so that's what's going on with The Acolyte. I have no idea where the plot to that would go. Like, anyone remotely good was killed. I don't want to see Leslie Headland's wife in there anymore. Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant. I don't want them to ruin Yoda, because he was in the very last episode in From Behind.
They could try to, I don't know, put in Ki-Adi-Mundi more.
Yeah, well, let's get more Ki-Adi-Mundi. More things that he'll lie about later. The Sith have been gone for 1,000 years. Well, except for that time about 100 years ago when we dealt with them. Wait, what? Nothing, guys. I was talking about the Wookiees. Don't worry about it.
And then, I mean, we can see how much they butcher Plagueis.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's going to be a lot. Like, I think they're going to go out of their way. They're going to look at the Darth Plagueis novel, one of the best Star Wars books ever written, and they're going to be like, let's just fuck with this 6 ways from Sunday because we can. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't ask for a season 2. Yeah, that's probably like a monkey's paw wish kind of thing going on there. But, yeah. Although I'm probably past that with Star Wars. Who knows? After Andor Season 2, I might check out. Because I think Andor Season 2 will be good. We get to see him steal a TIE Interceptor at some point, apparently. Like, I need a lot more than that to make the show good. I'm just saying, like, it looked kind of cool.
Why, are you not hoping for Ahsoka Season 2?
I'll watch Ahsoka Season 2 because I thought Season 1 was at least entertaining. And the guy, I think they've said who's going to replace Ray Stevenson. Because Balin is going to, his plotline is going to continue. It's going to be the guy that played the Hound in Game of Thrones, I think. He's similar physical stature. He's a good actor. Like, I think it'll work. He's got the voice. He's got the gravitas. I think it'll work. I hope. Plus, maybe we'll get a Lego set of those weird people on that other planet that drive around like snail-like metal mobile homes. I thought they were kind of cute. I'm a sucker for those things. I don't know. Plus, maybe we'll get good Thrawn. I can live with it. I can live with it being dad bod Thrawn as long as he's good. But yeah. Yeah, that's it for The Acolyte, I think. Hopefully there is no season 2 for The Acolyte. I changed my mind. But, yeah. So that's most of what we got on the MCU front and the Disney Plus front in general. I don't know if they've deleted anything else permanently for a tax write-off like they did the Willow series. I don't think they'll go that far with The Acolyte, but you never know. Bob Iger's an egomaniac, so...
I mean, Warner Brothers has deleted some things for tax write-offs.
What have they deleted?
Like, the Acme vs. Coyote movie.
Oh. See... Okay. So, this will be the other thing we can talk about. Brian, shout out, our fan from Boston that we met up with a couple times at Gen Con, sent me a video. I sent it to the group chat. You can be forgiven for having not watched it. It's an hour and 20 minutes. But it's an excellent video about how, with our physical media seemingly going by the wayside, we're leaving things even existing in the hands of people that don't care whether they exist or not. And that's bad. Like, that's really bad. So, because, like, the example, like, the guy, like I said, it's a lengthy documentary. I'll link to it down in the description if I remember to, because I'm going to do a whole other video about it. But, he started looking into this whenever he's starting to look into Halo. He was going to teach, I think he's a teacher for some kind of music, and was like talking about the music from Halo, and realized the hoops he was going to jump through to show his class the original Halo, because there's like a remastered version that has like the first, second, and third, but it has like different elements of music. Certain parts of the games have been removed, and he didn't know this until he started going through it, and I would have never known that. Like, the opening menu's different and everything, and so he like got a hold of the composer, and he was telling him all kinds of things that got changed around that he had never known. And it's all because no one at Microsoft gives a damn. And so after a certain point, like, those original versions, they're just going to be lost to time, And then, like, the remaster will be, like, the version. And so that would be like... Well, that would be like if Star Wars were to make alterations to the movies and destroyed the master copies so no one could ever recreate the originals. Thanks, George. Oh, what a stupid move. I mean, it's his movies, but goddamn. Anyway, so, like, we have episodes, like, we have shows like Community. Now, I've never watched Community other than a couple episodes. But there's a D&D episode that is not on streaming anywhere. And apparently, even if you, like, buy the series, you might not get the episode. And it's because one of the characters is a drow. So, for those of you that don't know, the drow have black skin. Now, whenever I say that, I mean like the color of obsidian, not what humans in the modern day... I mean like this part of my shirt. I don't mean like they're dark-skinned, like a person of African descent, that we would call black, or as we call this white, even though it's not white either, they're literally black, like obsidian.
Coal.
Yes, like coal. And so people complain that he was in blackface. Now, he was literally in blackface, but not in the way people mean. And they took it that way because they're moronic simpletons. And because of that, that episode doesn't exist. And even in the show, the characters tell him, like, you can't do that. That's blackface. And he's like, no, it's not. Or something like that. I actually have seen part of that episode. It's one of the few episodes of Community I've seen. And so because of that, most places that you would watch the show don't have that episode. I don't even know if it's in the collections. Like, you might have to actually go and find DVDs of it somewhere. Otherwise, it has been erased from existence because it's a digital file. And with one keystroke, you can do that as long as they're all stored in one place. And that's the problem. You run into things like that. You run into alterations to movies that you don't even know they've made until you've watched them. Like, if you watch a movie on TV, it tells you up front it's been edited for time and content, so you know there's going to be changes. But if it's a digital copy and supposedly unaltered, are you really going to notice if they take a little bit out here, a little bit out there that you're not stupidly familiar with? Or if it's the first time you're seeing the movie, there might be parts missing that you don't even know about. Like, I've noticed in the more updated versions of the Terminator, they've altered the sound of some of the firearms because the gun Arnold uses a lot is a .45 automatic. A .45 is a loud handgun. This sounds like a squelching fart. The original has a very roaring, booming noise like a .45 should have. This sounds like there's a silencer of some kind, and it's not even accurate to how that sounds. Like I said, it literally sounds like a fart. And it's like, I don't know what happened at some point, but it was definitely changed, and not for the better. And so if I want to hear the original, I think I actually have to go find my VHS copy. I don't even know if my DVD has the altered sound. I think it does. And that's not a big detail, but it's there, and it demonstrates what people can do. And we have no say in this. And some of these things, I would argue, are cultural artifacts, and they're committing cultural vandalism, just like George Lucas did with Star Wars. By the way, in case I haven't made it abundantly clear, I hate some of the changes he made. One in particular that completely destroys the scene that it's in. It's in Return of the Jedi, whenever Vader is sitting there deciding if he's going to save Luke and kill Palpatine, or if he's Team Sith all the way. You do not need to include him going, no, which I'm sure is the voice from Revenge of the Sith whenever he did it. You don't need that. The music does everything you need to do in that scene. That is like the pinnacle scene of the entire Star Wars saga. George fucked it up. I like George Lucas, but that was a colossal fuck up. And I don't like it at all, so I tend to not watch that movie as much because of that. I mean, I've got my VHS copies that are totally unaltered, and I should probably convert those to DVD at some point. And I have the DVDs that are just the first special edition where they didn't do that. But the Blu-rays have done that. The one on Disney Plus has done that. The one if you watch it on TNT has done that. That is the version going forward, and it sucks. So yeah.
But I think that this issue really becomes prevalent when you start talking about online video games.
Yes.
The most recent prominent example would be Concord.
The video actually mentioned I think it mentioned Concord. And, because it was imagine you worked on the game. You spent years of your life working on this game, and now it's just gone. They're like, let's ignore the game itself, how anyone liked it or not. But, some people did like it, but people spent years of their lives. How are you going to tell someone, hey, I worked on this game. Can you show it to me? No, it's gone. The company deleted it. Oh, so you worked on a terrible game? Well, I wouldn't think so, and, you see how the conversation plays out. But yeah, I was surprised it mentioned that, because if I recall correctly, there's a reason why Concord was deleted.
No, but just any online live service game can simply just disappear.
Yeah.
Now, as much as I hate like hero shooters, I don't like them. Like Overwatch 2, you can't play the original Overwatch anymore. It's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. The video also talked about people trying to preserve these things. They've run into court rulings that have made it so they can't. And which, by the way, I think is a terrible ruling. Like, if a company just abandons a game, then, I mean, I'm pretty sure the way I've understood U.S. copyright law is like, if you don't defend the copyright, you lose the copyright. That's part of the deal. So, like, after a certain point, you can argue in court that they haven't been defending it because people are downloading it for free. That's why they attack them so vigorously, because they don't want to have to do that.
Like how Nintendo won't remake any of the old Pokemon games.
Yeah.
And then they get mad when you pirate it.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, Nintendo, you didn't leave me any options here. Like, you gonna sell me an old Game Boy with the cartridge? No? How am I supposed to play it then? You're not. Like, that's probably like the official line is, no, play the new one. But then they make it on the Switch where you subscribe to the thing and you've got access to all kinds of games from older systems. I don't understand it. I think half of that was just to battle the ROM issue. Like that one guy that owes Nintendo like $4 billion or something now. He's clearly never going to pay them back. Yeah, I don't know. There has to be a middle ground where people have to be able to like operate a nonprofit with the sole purpose of preserving these things for posterity. Because I know I've seen a number before that, and it's staggering. It's I want to say 60-70% of computer games are basically unplayable right now. Just because like they were designed for like a 386 computer, not something running Windows 11, and there's just no way to make it work. And or the things that have like some kind of DRM, but like the other end just doesn't exist anymore to verify it, so you can't play it. And just like I think there should be a thing where like if a company is going to shut off the servers, that at that point people should have the right to start up their own. You know, offer a digital copy so they've got to buy it from you or whatever. Like, don't give me this, oh, it costs too much to keep that on our server. No, it doesn't. That's horseshit. Like, it's a game that has less memory than I don't even know. Like, I can't think of a good example. Like this picture I saw one time. It's a JPEG of a screenshot from Super Mario World. And someone explained because of the file format and everything, like, this picture takes up more space than the game takes up. Because of the file types and everything. And it's like, don't feed me this crap that you can't host 8-bit, 16-bit, 32, 64-bit games on a server somewhere. Like, yes, you can. You can fit all of those on like a 1 terabyte hard drive somewhere. Like, that is not going to bankrupt Nintendo to have that one thing running. Because you only need one, because they're all just copies. Like, it's so stupid. And same thing like with movies and shows, like I talked about. I might have run into a version of this with a show I watched recently. It was Kolchak, the Night Stalker. It's a show from the 70s. Only had one season. It jumped from episode 1 to 9 on streaming. I don't know where the hell the episodes 2 through 8 are. I can't find the movie that precludes it anywhere either. So, I mean, I'm sure they're out there in the ether somewhere. Like, maybe I'll find them at Comic-Con this year and I'll buy a pirated copy. Like I did the Star Wars Halloween Christmas special. God, I wish it was a Star Wars Halloween special. Like they did the Star Wars Christmas special, which if George Lucas had his way, all the copies of that would have been destroyed. I'm sure all the official copies have been. Because everyone that we have, people recorded off TV and then converted to DVD. Like the one I have, you can actually have it so it like still plays the TV commercials that were on in between it. Yeah. So yeah, it's a real problem. Like, these things are disappearing.
I mean, there has been, like, preservation efforts. Like, I know that there's this one website called, like, I don't know, like, shareware.com, like, free computer games.
Yeah.
It's got, like, a whole catalog on there.
Yeah, there's one I came across that has a whole bunch of console games that you can play for free. I don't know how Nintendo hasn't come in and been like, what the hell is this? See you in court. Or for the Japanese courts, we could maybe convince you to commit seppuku or something. That's ritual suicide, for those of you that don't know, with a sword. Or like a small dagger, I don't know. I'm not a samurai, so I couldn't tell you. We'll get Tom Cruise. He was the last samurai.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah, not with that attitude. I'm not going to be a samurai. Actually, that's a misleading title. Tom Cruise is not the last samurai. It's actually the main guy, and then he dies at the end, similar to The Last of the Mohicans. That's also an excellent movie if you've never seen it. Last of the Mohicans. Last Samurai is pretty good too. Don't believe that whole whitewashing crap. Like, he doesn't come in and show them the better way. I mean, they still lose, you know. But no, Last of the Mohicans, that's an excellent movie. You ever seen that one, Owen?
No.
I need to give you a list like I did to Chad. But yeah, I came across this one video one day. People were talking about the movie Cocoon. Like, that movie came out in the 80s, and apparently, like, you just can't find it. It's not on streaming anywhere, and I guess Disney's the one blocking its release for some stupid reason. There's no new versions of it coming out on DVD or Blu-ray. I don't even know if it made it to Blu-ray. I think DVD is where it peaked.
How did they even get the rights to it?
I don't know. And it's just like, why? Like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just be like, hey, so here's another movie on our streaming service. Get Disney Plus so you can watch old people becoming less old and more horny. And, like, let's just not worry about the plot here. The point is, it's a treasure from the 80s with people like Don Amici and Brian Dennehy and some other people I'm sure I'm totally forgetting because it's been forever since I've seen it because I can't find it. I think Jessica Tandy's in it too. Maybe not. I'm probably thinking of something else.
What started this was
Steve Guttenberg's in it.
Talking about, losing things that existed, but losing things that never existed, like Acme versus Coyote. The movie where, Wile E. Coyote, because all the stuff doesn't work, takes Acme to court.
I would watch that.
And it's apparently still, I think, in Warner Brothers' vault somewhere, but they're not going to release it. It's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
Just like the Batgirl movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird place with things that were never released. Like, I'd like to see them. Like The Wicker Man, the original version with Christopher Lee. I was watching the special features on there, and he's talking about, he's like, no, there's like 2 hours more of movie that we shot. He's like, we filmed all kinds of more movie. It's not in here. He's like, it was edited out, and someone somewhere has that footage. They talked about how whenever they built one of the highways there in England, I'm going to say the M4, I'm probably wrong about which one it is. They were like, yeah, so we took all the stuff out of the vault and buried it in the M4, and he's just like, that's rubbish. Christopher Lee's English, so he's like, that's preposterous. Like, nobody does that. He's like, I don't believe that for a minute. Someone's got it in their vault, and 50 years from now, they're going to want some money, and they're going to release it. And I'm just like, he's probably not wrong, and it's a shame he didn't live to see it if it happens. Because he probably would have hunted them down and killed them. Because for those of you that don't know, Christopher Lee has done some wet work in his life, apparently. So, we've talked about it before, but my favorite thing about the behind the scenes of Lord of the Rings, whenever Peter Jackson's trying to tell him how to react to being stabbed in the back, and he's like, Peter, have you ever seen a man stabbed in the back? Well, no, Chris. Like, I have. I know what to do. And by I have, I'm pretty sure he means I was the one doing the stabbing. But, he saw the last public execution via guillotine.
Yeah.
Because that was actually like the 1970s. That's way more recent than people think it was. Also, apparently met like some of the people that assassinated Rasputin at the beginning of the revolution there in Russia.
Yeah.
That guy was like a main character in Life. Like, they need to make like a couple of movies based on his life. I don't know who could play him though. Like, they already lost the best actor to play him. Like, I seriously don't know who would play him. Like, I'm at a loss.
I I just don't think you can capture him.
No. Let me know down in the comments if you folks have any ideas on that. But yeah, I mean, like you can see, this is Jim's collection here. Like, obviously, he's very much into the physical media. But unless I'm mistaken, a lot of these cartridges have things like batteries in them that'll eventually die. And it'll eventually come to a point that you won't be able to replace them. Like, the circuit boards themselves will eventually degrade. You know, like, now it could be 100 years from now, but it will eventually happen. The discs will eventually become unreadable.
DVDs and Blu-rays will eventually scratch to the point where you can't see it anymore.
Then the hardware itself will eventually die. You know, like your Xbox will eventually brick. Just because, you know, you've run it for 20 years. Like, at some point, it's finally going to have enough. Your Super Nintendo is finally going to break down. Probably after the Xbox. The Super Nintendo, like, Nintendo built stuff to last. I'll give them that.
Maybe until the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, I just got a Nintendo Switch, like, for Christmas. Then, like, a month later, I heard all the stuff about the Nintendo Switch, too. That's alright, though. I won't play the games on the Switch. Like, I can live with being a late adapter. Plus, every game I buy is apparently going to be forward compatible with the Switch too, so whatever.
I mean, yeah, you got like the NES, the Super Nintendo, even to like the N64 and the GameCube were all bricks.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, that's like I said, I'll try to link the documentary down. It's a really good. But there was some other things it talked about, like, Owen, have you ever been in a video store?
No.
All right. It devoted a lot of time to that, and I agree with some of the things they said there. Like, there used to be a sense of community. You know, you would go into the video store, you would see other people, you would talk. You know, you would talk to the video guy. He would let you know which of the new movies were good, because he's watched them all because he got them a week ago. You know, he'd, give you his opinion. Like, he would know what you like from what you rent, and, there was a give and take. Plus, you didn't have 10,000 options because you weren't looking for 10,000 movies. You were just like, no, I want a horror movie. There's only these horror movies in. Which one am I going to pick? I've seen this one. I'm going to take this one. Despite having a building full of choices, it was easier to make choices than it is on Netflix. Because on Netflix, you're like, but what else is here? And you doom scroll for an hour until you finally go back to that first movie you thought you were going to watch. Like, that happens to me constantly. I'm just like, oh, what's new on Netflix? And so I look through 30 movies, and it's like, oh yeah, that first one I saw, that's what I'm going to watch. I'll put the others on my list for later. That it just takes forever compared to literally it took me less time to drive across town, go to a video store, look at all the new movies, pick one, rent it, and come back.
Personally, I feel like that's not just video stores. I feel like that's a lot other things.
Oh, it is. Convenience is killing us. Like these things were supposed to be convenient. In a lot of aspects, they are. Like, because there's way more movies on Netflix than there would ever be at the video store. There's a bunch of foreign movies that never would have made it there. Like, there's good reasons. But we're definitely losing something. And like you said, like shopping on Amazon. I buy all kinds of things on Amazon. I also like going to the store and seeing them with my own two eyes, getting a feel for them. Like, I don't like there's certain articles of clothing I don't buy online because I don't trust the sizing. I've got to try them on, T-shirts are easy; they're pretty straightforward. Pants, not so much. Or shoes. I would never buy shoes online. I would definitely have to try them out. But yeah. I mean, I've like, the fact that malls are dying just baffles me. I'm just like, this building has everything you would need to shop for today if you're out shopping for yourself or like for other people. Like, as long as you're not buying food, like if you're buying clothes or toys or video games or whatever, like it's all in this building. You just have to go to the little buildings inside the big building, and you've got choices. You can see different things. It's like, oh, I just buy it on Amazon. It's like, I don't know how Amazon's competing. I mean, other than the fact they're cheaper. That's what it comes down to.
I mean, even if something is more convenient, I would rather go to somewhere in person to buy something.
Yeah.
Because I like to have the comfort of holding it in my hands.
Yeah. And once you buy it, you have it. You know, like, oh, we're on Amazon. It'll be here in 2 days, 3 days. If it's a secondary seller, maybe 2 months. I don't know.
Assuming they don't lose it.
Yeah,
it gets destroyed or
assuming
stolen.
they don't lose it. Porch pirates. I mean, you know, none of those things are going to happen if I go to Walmart to buy it, or a shopping mall, or Target. You know, maybe it's just me. Although, based on an article I read the other day, that's not just me. Apparently, Gen Z or Gen Alpha also seems to prefer things that way. So, like, there's like people.
Gen Alpha is the generation that's just being born. It'd be Gen Z.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm Gen Z.
Okay, then it must have been Gen Z. They were like saying that they have an increased interest in physical things, in tactile things, in going to a mall. You know.
So you're telling me it's just millennials?
Maybe millennials and probably Gen Xers. Although Gen Xers were like the mall rat kids, so I don't know. I never saw the appeal in that part of mall shopping. Like, I didn't go there to hang out. Like, I don't know, go watch Tiffany in concert, or Zendaya from back in whenever she got her beginning. Did you know that?
What?
Used to like sing like concerts at the mall and sell like skin cream. I distinctly remember, like, well before she became an artist, like, because I kept seeing her in these commercials, and I was like, she's kind of cute. Like, then it's like, then I started seeing her in movies, and I was like, how did this happen? Like, she wasn't that good of an actress in that skin cream commercial. You know? Next thing I know, she's everywhere. Definitely overpushed. She's not that good of an actress. She's okay, but she's not great. Total side issue. That happens with actors. Happened with Sam Worthington. I did not understand that at all. He was obviously not a good actor, but, you know, whatever. He did okay as a kind of robot thing in Terminator Salvation. Other than that, most of his characters sucked. Jai Courtney is another one. Like, he was good as Captain Boomerang, though. I give him that. Like, I didn't believe it was him for a minute. I was like, there's no way. He doesn't have this kind of acting range. But he did. Good for him. Then he got blown up in the sequel. Like 5 minutes in. You win some, you lose some. But yeah, it's like the whole physical media thing. Like, that's why I like books. I don't want to stare at a screen to read a book. I've read one book that way. I'm going to avoid that as long as I possibly can to ever do that again. That was a BattleTech book, actually. The last one that WizKids published, while they still had the Dark Age license and everything, was a digital-only version. They're like, oh, we're experimenting with this new thing, and everyone's like, stop experimenting, just print the goddamn book. And they didn't. And it's only been once Catalyst took over the license that they printed copies of the book. Which has led to an interesting thing, by the way. You may not care about this tidbit, Owen, but I'm going to tell you anyway, sorry. So all the books, all the older books that they're republishing, all have the Legends title on them. That one doesn't. Because it's not technically a reprint, because it was never printed before.
It's the first print.
It's the first print, even though it's like a 15-year-old book. It's like the first time it's actually in print. So the last book of the WizKids run does not have the Legends thing on it. At least all the pictures I've seen of it. I haven't bought my copy yet, so I don't know for sure. But yeah, so little BattleTech thing there. Possibly I'll put the hashtag BattleTech thing in the description now. But you got to think about these things as a creator, you know? Like some other videos I've seen talking about, hey, whenever you make your videos, think about how to use those parts in other videos. Because, you know, content. So the way I filmed some things recently, I definitely had an eye towards, I'm going to cut some of these things apart and mash them together into a new video all on their own. We'll see if it pans out. Like the Lego unboxings and stuff. I'm just going to make one video of just those parts of the Lego videos. So it's just a stream of Lego assembly occurring.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see. I don't know. It might go somewhere, it might not. I don't know. Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing on here. Apparently after the Fear the Walking Dead video I've got up right now, where I just blather about the show for 25 minutes and somehow it's almost got 1,000 views.
So you're telling me you need to make more rants about zombie media?
Well, I do other rants about zombie media and it never goes anywhere.
Maybe
Like-
it's just The Walking Dead.
Well, okay, so I looked at the analytics, and like 90% of the views are coming from Google searches. People searching The Walking Dead, and it's coming up. I don't know, probably why I only have like 5 thumbs up on the videos. Like, almost 1,000 views, only 5 people liked it. Sounds about right. I don't know, maybe I should drink when I make these videos some more animated. Speaking of which, I have some Sunny D vodka things I bought the other day. They're not bad. I drink those next time I record some videos over at the house. But, yeah, I don't know.
You think, physical media and physical interactions are going to make a comeback?
Well, I think they will, because like the guy mentioned, like, records have made a comeback. And part of that is, like, it's a physical thing you can hold. It sounds different than a digital copy. And, like, each record... Okay, so... one of the differences between digital and analog, digital, all the copies are the same. Because they're all just copies. Analog, each one is unique. Because it's a physical item. There's tiny imperfections you cannot see, and over time there will be more as you use it. So each analog version of a thing is totally unique. So you can make 10,000 records of the same thing. It has the same master record, but each physical copy is unique because there's some slight imperfections in the creation process. Plus, as you play them more, they get little pits and grooves that aren't there originally. So they all have a unique sound. Now, they have a very similar sound, obviously, but each record will have a unique sound to it. Same thing with CDs. CDs have a flatter sound from what people tell me. I don't know. I don't have a record player, so I couldn't tell you. My nephew does, though, Brandon. But the digital ones, they all sound the same. Exactly the same. Unless the file gets corrupted, in which case you can't play it. But they should all sound exactly the same because they are exactly the same. They duplicate perfectly. That's the difference between analog and digital. Well, one of the differences. So the same thing with, like, movies. Now, with movies, you don't want there to be differences. But, like, some of your VHS copies will eventually have, they'll get a little shaky at some point because the magnetic tape will eventually demagnetize at some point. Plus, I firmly agree with Joe Bob Briggs. VHS tape is quite possibly the worst format known to man to watch a movie on. God only knows how it became so popular. But it's bad. Like, DVDs were such a quantum leap forward in quality, it's not even funny. That's why, like, DVD to Blu-ray, a lot of people can't even tell the difference. And Blu-ray to 4K and 8K and all that, like, a lot of people are like, I don't see the difference. Because we're quickly approaching, like, the human eye will not be able to tell the difference. At which point you're like, oh, this one's got this thing. You're like, video games like, oh, this has got ray tracing. And people are like, I don't care. Just make a good video game.
I would rather play a game with bad graphics than bad gameplay.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, there is gold sitting back here. Like, 8-bit, 16-bit, I don't care. If it's a good game, I'll play it. Super Mario World is one of my favorite games, and it's a 16-bit game. I don't care. I don't need lifelike graphics. They're great. I'm not trying to crap on them, but, like, if that's your focus and not the gameplay, you've lost me. Like, I'll play it once to dazzle myself, and then I'll go back to the game I actually enjoy. It's that simple.
I mean, like, a lot of my favorite games are, like, from, like, the early 2000s.
Yeah.
When you were, like, approaching where it looks more real, but it's still, like, potatoes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's super realistic games that I would like. Like, Red Dead Redemption looks like it's a fantastic game. Especially all the shorts I see of people just running around and shooting all kinds of people in the Old West, or blowing them up with dynamite, but, like, the cutscene keeps going, so it's just a skeleton talking to them. Like, that looks fantastic. I don't know, I played a little bit of Skyrim, like, that game looks great, and I'm sure future iterations will look even better.
If they made a new game after Skyrim.
Well, it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto 6. Grand Theft Auto 5's been out for like a decade now, and is still, like, raking in, like, billions of dollars from microtransactions. And they're like, yeah, I'll make 6 eventually,
They're
sometime.
They're still dropping DLC for Grand Theft Auto 5.
I believe that, which makes me think I should buy that one, but
I mean,
either that or I'm going to be like, no, this collection that has like Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and is it San Andreas, I think?
Yeah.
I think that's what's in the set. I might just like, that's good enough.
hey,
That's all I need to drive around and shoot people and steal cars. And,
hey, Grand Theft Auto 4, though.
yeah.
Like Bethesda's still dragging out Skyrim. Like, they had, 2021, there was an anniversary edition. The only new content was things other people made. It was community, club creations that they put in the game.
Yeah, and there's one thing I'm kind of stuck on. Like, after watching that documentary, because I was all, gung-ho, okay, I'm going to buy Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance 1 and 2 on the Switch now that I have one. But then I saw it and I'm like, wait, how am I going to know that those are exactly like the ones I have on the Xbox, where I have the physical game and the Xbox? Unless I play through them completely again, every little thing, I'm not going to know that. And even then, I'm going to have to remember from when I played through them 10 years ago, or farther back. I think it's longer than 10 years. And because I was all set to be like, okay, I don't need my Xbox anymore. And now I'm like, shit, maybe I do still need to keep it, But I'm always going to choose to play the newer version in all likelihood, just because it's more convenient. It's a system I have hooked up,
Well, that's like the equivalent to me. I play a lot of the old games on PC through Steam, but then it's like I still have the physical copy here. I may not have the console, but
yeah.
Is it different? Is it the same?
Well, I'm assuming that like the Mario games, for instance, I think I would have known by now if they changed anything. People would have said something. And there, it's not a matter of a physical version. What I have is a Super Nintendo Mini that I loaded a whole bunch of ROMs onto. So that's what I have. I think I actually sold your dad some of my physical ones. But, so yeah, because what I want to be able to is, part of me is I don't need these old systems anymore. But then the other part of me is but maybe I do. Are they going to change something? Are they going to screw something up? And then the only way I'm going to play this game is this old system, Am I going to find a CRTV somewhere, hopefully not, because I don't think I'm going to find one anytime soon. Not a functional one anyway. But, yeah, because I was all set to get rid of my VHS tapes, I have them in a box somewhere. Hell, I was going to get rid of some of my DVDs. I have enough DVDs to open a video store, in case you don't know, Owen. I have 650 movies on DVD. And then another 20 or 30 on Blu-ray. So, I have a lot of movies. And I don't even have a DVD player hooked up to watch them right now. It's too much of a hassle. I unplugged my Blu-ray player to take it with me on vacation 2 years ago and never plugged it back in. Because it's just, I don't want to fiddle with the wires and everything. So for me, it is the whole convenience factor. But there's all kinds of things that are not on streaming. And so I'm going to have to hook it back up to watch them. And I'm torn now. Because I want the convenience, but I recognize the potential cost. And I don't know that I'm willing to pay it anymore. So that's where I'm at. I'm at this weird crossroads of I totally agree with everything in that documentary. But then the other part is but convenience. It's here. The other is work, is effort, and I'm lazy. So now I'm going to be that guy. But I don't want to be that guy. That's going to take effort. And then I'm going to find out half my DVDs are ruined anyway or something by DVD muck, that cloud that gets on them. So and I think that actually spreads. So if it does, my DVDs are probably all ruined. Which, that'll be really terrible. I will probably actually shed a tear over that. Because there's a bunch of anime I have on DVD that isn't on streaming services. And so, like, I didn't know where I could even go to watch it if I wanted to. I'd have to pirate it. Not that I advocate that, to be crystal clear, you two people. But yeah. Definitely don't do like I did at one point and buy the entire Dragon Ball Z series on CD so I could copy it and then sell those copies on eBay before they clamped down on it. I didn't do that at all. But yeah, like the various Gundam shows, I have them on DVD. I really should upgrade them to Blu-ray, because then I can have my 10 Gundam Wing DVDs as one Blu-ray, because God loves Sunrise. They were just like, 50 episodes to a show? Let's release them 5 to a disc, so they'll have to buy 10 discs. Even though that's only really about 2 hours of content, and a DVD can hold more than that, that's alright. Those crazy Americans will buy it. Then they come out with the Blu-ray like, yeah, here it is on one Blu-ray. Maybe 2. For like $40. Versus the, like, I think $25 a piece I paid for the DVDs. Yeah. So I need to sell those and then buy the Blu-ray versions. Or buy the Blu-ray versions first so I make sure I don't miss out, and then sell the others. Plus then I can buy the others that I don't have, like Double Zeta Gundam. And I can have the entire Universal Century storyline. And buy G Gundam so I can get a really good laugh out of it. Have you seen any of the Gundam shows?
No.
But you're aware of the general concept. Giant robots fighting. Okay. So G Gundam, every so many years there's a tournament for control of the Earth. And all the Gundams are like just super stereotypes. Like the Gundam from Mexico is the Tequila Gundam, which is wearing a giant sombrero, I believe has a duster. Its weapon is a big cactus club. The American Gundam has a football helmet, shoulder pads, boxing gloves, and 6 shooters. I think the Canadian Gundam might have been a big maple leaf. The Dutch one is a big windmill. The one of the ones for Africa looks like a Zulu tribesman with like zebra stripe armor. The one for England is like a palace guard. The French one has like a kind of half cape and like a bunch of Levian rose kind of stuff all over it. And, the Egyptian one I think is a mummy. I mean, it's just so ludicrous. Like when I first saw them online when I was reading up on Gundam stuff way back when, I was like, this is a joke. Someone made this up. Then I saw screenshots and I was like, yeah, the Japanese are the who made it up apparently.
Well, yeah, they just do that sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some dandy stuff in some anime before. And I don't mean like the weird, weird tentacle and titty kind of stuff. Like, I mean just like stuff that you're just like that's weird. Like, but that's like their thing. You're like, okay, because of Japanese laws, you're going to do things weird way. Whatever. Weird stuff, sexually repressed society, so you're going to do these things. I get it, whatever. Then in like the normal stuff, you're like, what are you doing, Japan? Are you okay over there? I don't think you are. Like, the bombings might have had a more horrific effect than we thought. Like,
you went from samurai to Imperial Japan to whatever we have now.
Yeah. Maybe there are more guys like that one guy who, like, was going to work and then we nuked the city that he was going to. He survived that and then rode the train to the other job in the other city that we were about to nuke. Survived that and then, like, lived a full life apparently. Like, guys either like the most or least luckiest man alive. Or both. Because he was out of a job. On the flip side, his boss was probably a radioactive cinder, so, if he hated his boss, there's that. Of course, if he liked his boss, then he's back to downside, so I don't know. Probably shouldn't speculate on post-nuclear Japan, because I really have no basis to talk about it other than Godzilla Zero. But, which is an excellent movie.
I mean, if Japan hadn't got nuked, we wouldn't have Godzilla.
Yeah. I don't think we'd have anime either, if I recall correctly. And Asia might not have been introduced to Coca-Cola, otherwise known as the diabetes water from America. Saw a really good thing the other day. It was do you know who Wilford Brimley is?
No.
He's an actor. He used to do commercials talking about like type 2 diabetes and everything. And so there was a mashup, like it was a thing from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's like, what do you get when you guzzle down sweets? And it cuts to his commercial, type 2 onset diabetes. This is like, that's great.
Diabetes.
Yes, diabetes. Although that lost it there. The best thing was on Robot Chicken, where he's like, diabetes makes you do some things. Like, I punched my wife last night. And he's like, my wife's been dead for 6 years. Who the hell did I hit last night? Yeah. All right. Got anything else, Owen? We've probably very clearly entered the ramble zone.
Yeah, I don't think we need a third topic.
All right. Any other like tidbits you want to throw out there to these fine people?
Not really.
Like the two that are still watching. Thank you, by the way.
If you watched this far,
if you watch this far, you've won $1 million. Not really, but
you are either a masochist or a fan.
I might give you 1,000 pesos. The old pesos, by the way, which is like $6.
I don't have $6.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say things like that. Taco Bell used to run a thing where you could win 1 million pesos. And like it had to tell you what the approximate value of that in US dollars was, $66,000. So.
Yeah, we're not big enough to start doing giveaways yet.
No. I have stuff I could give away, but no. Because I'd have to like restrict it to the United States, and I'd have to look up rules, and like, does this constitute a contest? Is this gambling? I think I'd have to say you'd have to be over 18, which statistically, if you're watching this channel, you are, but, you know, there's a lot I have to look into. It's something I'd like to do at some point, so let me know what you folks think about that. But, yeah, I think we're pretty firmly into the rambling, like, once I'm starting to start talking about the bombings in Japan, and not like, man, that was really horrible, but like, whatever I just said a few minutes ago. I don't even remember what I said now. So
without that, we wouldn't have anime.
That's it. Or like I told Chad one time, like if I had a time machine, I don't know that I'd go back and stop the Cold War, because we got a lot of really awesome movies out of the deal.
I mean, think about it. Without the Cold War, we wouldn't have The Hunt for Red October.
And Hunt for Red October wouldn't have like most of the Bond series. I mean, no, like, I don't know, but I feel terrible because like, commies killed like 100 million Russians during the Cold War, or 100 million communists during the Cold War.
Well, just think about this. You know, if you change something worse is probably going to replace it.
That's true. Yeah, I heard a really off-color joke about that I'll tell you here in a moment. I'm definitely not going to repeat it on here, even though I saw it on YouTube. But you know, anyway, I think that's all we've got. So let us know down in the comments what you think about any of this. Agree, disagree, other stuff you want to hear us talk about. Should we wait 3 months for another episode? That was out of our control. But anything like that, I would say keep an eye out for more Battletech stuff. Indiana Comic-Con is next month, but that's like a month and a half out. We'll hopefully get some video from that, even if it's just walking around or a picture montage or something. We'll see how that pans out. But at the moment, myself, Owen, Jimmy, and several others will be going. I don't think Chad's planning on going this year, so comics less his thing, and you know, money's a little tighter. Want to save it for Gen Con, which totally understandable. But yeah, anything like that, let us know down in the comments. Was this just insanely long-winded, and we really should have stopped like an hour ago? Like, whatever. But other than that, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Sharing and commenting are the things that help us grow the channel the most. We appreciate it. We especially appreciate everyone that subscribes. But here's where we leave you fine folks. So we will see you later. Say goodbye.
I was supposed to say something?
Yeah. I'll edit it in. Just
To the loo.